had a day off in Malmo last week. We did what English bands always do on a night off. We went out and had an Indian curry and watched a movie. This time it was an English movie with Swedish subtitles. Unfortunately it was in 3D, it was Gravity. The reason that's unfortunate was that the subtitles were in 3D as well as the film. So it was all this Swedish. It was like watching a movie over a white picket fence. It was really good. I encourage you to go and see it. It's a really good movie. And that's why I started playing that song, because I thought, Gravity, the laws of gravity. So I started playing it. And on Sunday, we were in Hamburg, and thank you very much. It was a weekend of remembrance for us and for you. We remember the end of the First World War on the November the 11th, and the nearest Sunday we remember together as a country the people who died in the war, the First World War, the Second World War, and also, of course, I'm sure you'll be aware that although last weekend there were many anniversaries in German history, there was one particular anniversary of the night of pogroms. And there was a special exhibition in the Museum of Hamburg about the Jewish community of Hamburg. And I thought this would probably be the sort of thing I would do on this day. So I went to see this exhibition, and as I walked through, there was a picture of a German First World War German soldier. Happened to be a Jewish guy from Hamburg, and I was listening to his story on the audio in English, and he said how proud he was when war was declared, how excited he was at the prospect of the beginning of the First World War. And it made me think, to hear his words, it made me think of my grandfather, who was 20 years old when the First World War was declared, and he cycled 15 miles to Buckingham Palace to celebrate, to wave a flag, to celebrate the beginning of war. We still have this little flag where my grandfather wrote the words "war" on this flag, to celebrate. And you think, how could they celebrate the beginning of a war? And my only way I could understand it was that it was because they just did not know what it meant. There had been no war, big war, in Europe. The British Army had not been in Europe since the Battle of Waterloo. And people had forgotten. People had no memory. And that's why this next year, with the anniversary of the First World War, it's important that we remember, and we keep remembering, and we never forget the victims of war, whether it's the First World War, the Second World War, the Korean War, all the wars, even up to those people who were gassed in Syria earlier this year, that we never forget the awful price that everybody ultimately pays during a war. We must not say at the end of the centenary of the First World War, well, that's done with now. We've finished with our remembrance. We must never, never, never forget. I was a miner, I was a docker, I was a rowing between the wars. I raised a family in time of austerity, with sweat at the foundry between the wars. I paid the union. As times got harder, I looked to the government to help the working man, but they brought prosperity down at the armoury. We're arming for peace, me boys, between the wars. I kept the faith, and I kept voting not for the iron fist, but for the helping hand. For theirs is a land with a wall around it, mine faith, my fellow man. This is a land of hope and glory. Mine is the green field and the factory floor. These are the skies all dark with bombers, and mine is the peace we knew between the wars. Call up the craftsmen, bring me the draughtsmen, build me a path from cradle to grave, and I'll give my consent to any government that does not deny man the living wage. Go find the young men, never to fight again. Bring up the banners from the days gone by. Sweet moderation, heart of this nation, desert us not, we are between the